Welcome, guys. I know it feels kind of different from our normal team Zooms tonight. I know there's a lot going on, so I appreciate you guys taking the time to join us via online, which I think this is going to be the way we're going for a lot of things here coming up. So, you know, I've been in this for a very long time and doing Shackley and in this industry, and I feel like, after 23 years that this is the strangest time it's ever come to where I feel like if there's a time to be learning about health, now is a great time. So I'm glad you guys are taking some time here to just join us. And, I think a big part of our topic tonight, which is allergies, is tying into immunity. And we're going to be discussing that here in a little bit. And as we go through this, if you think of some questions, feel free to use the chat box or unmute yourself if you'd like to join in and comment on anything. And one of the things I want to just start out with here first is just explaining of why we feel it's so important we do these Zooms. Every week we bring you a different topic, and our goal is to educate and bring a sense of awareness into the difference between a holistic approach and a medical approach. And we need both. And this is a great way to fuse them together is by educating people on natural alternatives. And this is something too that as we look at what we need to do for many of our problems that relate to health is really trying to figure out how to get to the root cause versus masking the symptom. And that's a big difference in when we talk about using a medication versus using something natural. In allergies, there are all types of medications that are used for those. And we'll kind of talk about some of the negative side effects of those also. But we also want you guys to be aware of where does a lot of this stuff come from. And this is a great book, and I quote this a lot because I feel like it's a really important concept to understand, that if we look at any major disease in our body, the main cause is malfunctioning cells. And there's two things that trigger that: exposure to toxins and lack of nutrients. And if we can work on these two concepts, oftentimes our body can heal themselves. And that's our goal here, is to really give you guys some, again, ideas and tips and knowledge that you know how to best fuel your body and fuel your health moving forward. So one of the things we want to look at here, beginning with looking at a natural approach, is, again, understanding our immune system, how we can balance that, restoring our digestive health, and really look at the toxins around us, which, again, when you think of those three things, it's not too often times if somebody has an allergy that when they go and ask suggestions of what to do, that's ever suggested. When we look at allergies, we're recommending to get testing, then we're usually put on some type of regimen. And anytime we have an allergy, it's interesting that what it actually is, it's an overreaction in your immune system. So something foreign is being brought into your body that your body doesn't like. And our immune system is extremely complex, but it's also very hardworking. And we have to try to figure out how to keep our immune system working hard and not continuing to beat it down to where our body can't fight back. And the numbers are staggering for how this continues to grow with the amounts of people that have asthma and allergies. And if you look at 1 out of 4 now, that is a pretty amazing number. You look at even who's on here tonight, and that means that several of us have allergies or asthma just in the group of people here. And that is continuing to rise. And, there's different reasons behind why they're saying it continues to grow. But the interesting thing that I find is also that this is not just in a certain population. This is kids. This is in adults. If you're looking at the screen there, it comes from all different areas, from respiratory to non-respiratory. But if you look at the amount of, I think, the cost of what allergies is bringing to our society, $7 billion, nearly $6 billion of that is in medications. So we're trying to help ourselves by using medications, but we're also realizing that's costing us more and more money, with oftentimes not getting us the actual results and getting our bodies to be able to function optimally on their own without having to rely on medications either. So here's just to kind of go through a few of the common ones and some of their side effects. And some of the common ones we look at here, you've probably all heard of these, and they're used for different purposes. And a lot of times we don't realize that even if you look at here, the second category, the antihistamines, this is probably the most popular, I'd say, where people start. These are not generally meant to be used on kids. And a lot of times they're recommended for children. And if you look at, oftentimes the side effects of these can be worse than the allergies themselves. And I think that that's key to note we need to realize what the side effects are of many of the things we're putting into our body. So just to note that, again, a lot of things you find over the counter doesn't mean it's necessarily safe, and it doesn't mean it's always for kids. And here's some other common ones here that, again, your Nighttol, some of the things that help with sleeping. And if you look at the side effects there, you know, a lot of times those side effects would not even be thought of that that's related to a medication. But that's pretty serious when you look at, you know, chest congestion and nervousness, loss of appetite, constipation, nausea, vomiting. You know, those are pretty, you know, common, but look at the serious side effects. You can be affecting your heart, your blood pressure, your vision, organs, and looking at the long-term side effects on the brain. You know, nobody would ever think of long-term complications of things like Alzheimer's from taking some things that helping with sleeping. So just to kind of mention that and getting us to realize we got to know that there are side effects to many medications, and what are some things we can do naturally to really help with building up our immune system? Because that's the ideal thing we can do here, is try to get our immune system to be in better balance. So we have a couple testimonials we're going to share here tonight. I know we try to keep these to 20 minutes, so I'll make sure we stay on time here, but I really want to just address and get people to be more aware of some options. And some of these things people have never heard of before. And if you look at this list here, you know, just to kind of quickly run through some of these, and we're going to go into more detail. We have everything here from natural antihistamines to building health, to getting the foundation, to working on gut health. All of these have different reasons and different purposes for how they're utilized. But we want to kind of help you get an understanding of just a little bit more detail of some of these. So first one we're going to talk about is alfalfa. And alfalfa, just like it says there, it's an excellent natural antihistamine. And the great thing is that they're small. They can be crushed. They can be put into things, but they really do work quickly. And that's important to note when somebody's having a bout with allergies, is they want to have something that works fast. And alfalfa is a great thing. And it's very unique because it's the way that it's processed, this actually is produced from very mature leaves. This actually grows for more than 5 years before it's actually processes. This is very different than any other type of alfalfa, because those roots that grow 20 plus feet deep absorb trace minerals. And that's what's really unique with this. It's not just the alfalfa that we think of cows eating. There's actually nutrient-rich density that comes from those roots growing so deep. So very unique properties to our alfalfa, but love that it can be used, again, for many different purposes. But a lot of times people do have to take a lot of them in order to get the benefits. So we do generally recommend 1 for every 10 pounds of body weight is kind of our general recommendation when we look at getting somebody started on alfalfa. So another one here is going to be Nutriferon. And I think that this is probably one of our big go-tos. You know, myself and my husband both do have allergies, but since we started Nutriferon, we actually don't seem to have them anymore, which is amazing. And every year, Riverbank Run, we always know my husband's would be the time that he would start with all of his symptoms. And we really got him going strong on Nutriferon. And it's amazing the changes he has noticed from being on that regularly. But it helps to basically create here with your body a sense of being calm. So your immune system, it isn't in that hyper or that hypo, it's being affected in a way of keeping it more neutral. And even with what we have going on right now, this is a great product to know about, because we need to find something that if we do get hit with the flu, or we get hit with what's going around right now, that we can fight back the best we can to turn on our bodies, basically the body creating in a greater combination of our immune system to fire back. So this acts in interferon, which is like your inside of your immune system's the orchestra. And this is kind of the conductor. It tells everybody what to do. And that's what the Nutriferon is used for, is to tell our immune system what to do. So again, a very important product that we want to kind of highlight here. And then again, just to kind of help you understand some of the differences of what else we can do. You know, we're looking at normalizing our immune system. First, we got to start with the foundation. Everybody should be on a multivitamin, some type. And we are big fans of using our Vital E or the Vitalizer, which is going to be more comprehensive. And for kids, we use something called the Incredivites. All of them have immune properties to them, and they all help to fill any voids from any vitamins or minerals that we might not be getting in our diet. So again, immune health stems from getting our bodies to function optimally. So we got to have that foundation. And again, our diets just do not fill those voids anymore. Nutriferon, we mentioned, to create that, again, chemistry of our immune system to work better together. We look at having a foundation of some type of protein. because protein is what creates a more stable foundation for our vitamins and minerals to then build upon. So our protein options are very crucial to making sure we're getting good quality protein that our body is optimally utilizing to create a foundation. So that's where we look at having a good source of protein. Our vitamin C, which we could talk about that all day, but vitamin C, our body does not produce. And that is why we have to supplement with it. We have to get it through our foods, but supplementing in high doses, especially right now, they're saying is one of the best things we can do to fight back, and really getting those antioxidants in an absorbable form of vitamin C, I should mention, not a synthetic form, and making sure it has all those bioflavonoids in there that our body then can use to build protection for antioxidants. That's why we love vitamin C. So again, immunity, we need to keep it boosted. Finishing there with our gut health. And that is where, if we can restore digestive health, it's amazing how oftentimes allergy symptoms start to radically decrease. And it's interesting to note that the type of probiotics, this is what's really key too, is that is what is going to guarantee that it is actually working. So we have in this one, we can talk about how it's encapsulated, and there's over 5 million different live bacteria in this little tiny pearl. But we know it will absorb because of that protection around the coating. So, you know, when we hear people saying, oh, I eat yogurt to get my good bacteria, and, oh, the probiotic I use is refrigerated. Well, guaranteed that that doesn't mean it has any good live bacteria in it anymore. So we need to make sure we're getting that microflora built up, and our good bacteria is being depleted every day. And, you know, one thing that we could also tie in with immunity here, guys, that breaks it down a lot, you know, of course, sleeping, all of those things, but stress. We talk about stress for almost every health topic because stress is a contributor to every disease because it breaks down the body's ability to fight back. So we need to look at our stress levels, but stress also depletes our good bacteria in there. So we need to replace it by using that good live bacteria. We also have something called garlic, which I'm just going to spend a minute on here because I want to make sure we have time to share here. But our garlic is really a big one to mention right now. Our garlic is nature's medicine. This is when we talk about something that we want to have as a way to create a more of a neutral breeding ground in our body. Garlic helps us to provide that. And when you cook garlic, it doesn't keep the live allicin in there like taking it in a complex formula does. And this is equivalent to basically eating 2 medium garlic cloves, 1 serving of this garlic complex. So it has a lot of those properties to keep our body really functioning at a great stable place. So when we talk about nature's medicine, this is what we call nature's antibiotic. We use this, it's actually was used back in the day as a natural form of penicillin, large amounts of garlic. So again, when we're starting to notice we need to fight back from something, large amounts of garlic. So why is that important for immune health? Because a lot of times with our immunity, tying this in with allergies, it can because our body has built up so much yeast. It could be because we have so many toxins in there, but garlic can help to kill whatever shouldn't be surviving in there anymore. So garlic is, again, a great thing to mention for allergy purposes too here. So, all right, I'm going to have a couple people share here real fast, and feel free to ask some questions. So Stacy, if you don't mind, I'm going to start with you here a minute, if you don't mind sharing your story here.
Nope. Hey, everybody. My testimonial is actually more for my husband than it is for me. He started having allergy symptoms as a teenager, and they were getting so bad he was going to weekly, monthly, whatever it was, shots. But that really became a pain. The place he went was 20 minutes away, plus you have to wait for your shot, then you have to wait 20 minutes for it to kick in, and then 20 minutes home, so it was an hour and a half process. He also started to notice as he got older, his allergies were changing, and the shots really were not very effective, but did not want to go through the very expensive and painful testing to figure out how they should be adjusted. So he really just kind of suffered all the time, and he gets the allergies where the whites of his eyes start swelling and getting all red. He is an airplane pilot, and it was affecting his flying and his work. And of course, you can't take over-the-counter meds for allergies with that and still fly a plane legally. So he really just kind of suffered through it. It was getting to the point he couldn't even mow the lawn and finish it. He'd have to come in and lay with one of those cold packs on his eyes. And so it was getting really bad. I started with Shackley, and Amanda had kind of suggested a few things, and he started on both Nutriferon and alfalfa, which we've already talked about, and his allergies have been fabulous. Now he still has some symptoms of that, and we are trying to work on taking Nutriferon even longer amounts of time to see once if we can maybe get rid of them completely. But he can mow the lawn. He doesn't take any kind of over-the-counter meds. He can fly and go to work. It's just been amazing for him. He's had a complete turnaround, and he no longer worries about shots. He no longer has to worry about them changing. Nutriferon and alfalfa cover whatever it is he's experiencing, and he just won't go back.
That's awesome. Love to hear that. Thanks so much for sharing, Stacy. That's not a very powerful testimony. I think relatable to many, and people that have allergies, they know exactly what you're talking about. So thank you. In one other product, before I have Sarah share here in a moment, I wanted to just quickly mention, and I had it listed on some of the immunity builders, and it wasn't specifically shown on the screen there in a product form, but the Defend and Resist, again, I just want to mention that right now with people really focusing on immunity, that has elderberry in there. And that's one of the hot topics right now. Everybody's talking about elderberry and the benefits of it. And the Defend and Resist is a great combination. It has elderberry. It does have echinacea. It has several immunity components to it, but it's great because you have a sore throat, you can suck on it, you can crush it, you can make it into a tea. But the high anti-inflammatory and antioxidant properties in there can also be used for allergies. So granted, we hear elderberry for immunity. It can also be for allergies. It's tied together. But the bioflavonoids in there, it's kind of interesting, and why elderberry is a hot topic, because they found that it actually destroys the ability of your cold and flu viruses to actually infect the cell. And many of the experiences we see when the flu gets really bad or colds get really bad, it's because the cells have been infected. So if you can kind of surround that, that's what elderberry does. So using Defend and Resist on short term, it's used for maybe combined with echinacea. You don't use that for more than maybe 7 days at a time. It's a great thing to use seasonally when you notice things flaring up too. So I just wanted to mention that really fast. But the last area we need to talk about is chemicals around us. And again, nobody ever relates things like what you're cleaning your floors with, what you're cleaning your windows with to, that could be causing some of my breathing issues, or why my eyes are watering all the time, or how come my skin keeps breaking out in something. So this is our last area when I talk about is getting rid of chemicals and trying to be as toxin free as you can. Remember, when you see ingredient or labels like Tide Free, it doesn't mean it's free of chemicals, which those chemicals are what can trigger allergies. So I asked Sarah if she wouldn't mind sharing her story here really fast, because it ties in well with this. So Sarah, you're up here.
Yeah. Hi, everybody. My testimony is for my kids. I have 3 boys, and mainly my last 2, my second and my third, both of them were plagued with skin conditions, eczema, weird rashes, dry skin, just you name it, they had it. And my youngest, we were even putting Tegaderm bandages over him to go to like daycare and stuff like that, because he had these like weird kind of like pustule type rashes. No one always could figure out what it was, but long story short is they always had skin issues. So our pediatrician actually recommended switching out our cleaning products for Shackley. He couldn't give them to me, but he mentioned his wife uses something, and long story short, I went to a Get Clean event, an Earth Day event at Amanda's house, and tried them, and it made a huge difference in our family. I think it was mainly the laundry detergent. We did everything though, laundry detergent, dryer sheets. I bathed my kids in the Basic H. I still do most of the time, especially during the winter. Sometimes in the summer they'll get by with, whatever we have on hand, but Basic H for bathing. Even the hand soap, I'm not sure if that's directly linked, but we cleaned our floors with something different, and things turned around night and day with my youngest. And his skin just got better. The rashes disappeared, the eczema disappeared. We weren't lathering him up in lotions. And then my middle one always had respiratory things. Like he would get a cold and it would just morph into respiratory gunk. He plowed through and he got through it. You would never know sometimes. He still went to school most times. But just he always went the respiratory route. And ever since switching to these products, that's made a huge difference in him. as far as missing school and just winter colds not morphing into anything more than a little cold. So we're huge fans of the Get Clean. I think it makes a huge difference. We've never looked back. And yeah, that's kind of where I started with everything. And to this day, we still use them.
Awesome. Thank you for sharing. And yeah, thanks, Stacy. And, you know, I think that, guys, the thing we got to just keep getting in our minds is really thinking about everything we are putting in and around our body and trying to keep our immune system firing and active. It will help in so many areas, including allergies. So we hope this was helpful, and I'll open up for questions here. One other thing I just want to mention here really quickly, we like to let you know what Zooms are going to be on. And next week, we are going to continue talking about immunity a little bit more and also breaking that down into understanding how the Prove It challenge is a great way to help build up immunity. So next week, this is going to be our topic. And we also want you all to know about, we are going to do an online event starting this Thursday. All you got to do is say you're going. I did not actually create the event on Facebook yet, but it's all on Facebook. And basically, once you're going, you'll be able to see the post, you'll be able to see the videos. And we just really want to help give people some ideas and some options and help them keep going while a lot of us are spending most of our time at home. So it's all online. So if you'd like to join us, watch for this coming up here this Thursday. It'll all be online. So hope this was helpful, guys. Any questions before we go here?
Yeah, I have a question. Has this ever been tested, the Nutriferon, to work for pregnant women? I am currently pregnant. I don't know if that's safe or not, or would there be a way I could look at the ingredients?
For sure. Actually, if you go online, Beth, you can review every label, but it will say if you're pregnant or nursing to check with your doctor. And the reason being is because anything that has an herb in it has not been tested for pregnancy. But I can tell you, I don't even know how many people that have been pregnant have used it, including myself during 5 pregnancies. So I am a complete supporter of it. And I think if you have any immune issues, I would definitely look at it as an option. So.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Sure. No problem. All right. Well, thanks for joining us here, guys. We're going to switch over to business training. So if some of you need to go, please do. Otherwise, we hope to see you guys back next week, same time, 8:30. Thank you for joining us.